Hello everyone, hope you're all having a good week. That's coming to a close now. We're starting into week 5 of the fall semester, so that's very exciting. So good job to all of you guys. You're all doing great. I want to give a recap of week 4 and let you know what's coming down for week 5 and go over a brief devotional at the end. So we just released the grades for the adult education paper last night officially, so everybody did a great job. Biggest thing really was just minor mechanics, some changes with the APA formatting that is kind of confusing to everybody, and I think I said almost every time that it gets easier with practice, and if I didn't, I apologize, because it's true, it does get easier with practice, and you'll figure it out. It's just we want you to know how to write professionally. You'll have to do this APA for the rest of your schooling, so best to just figure it out now. So we're here to help and guide. So coming up on week 5, we focus on the breast and lymph and respiratory systems. So there's an overview for the week. The big thing this week really is the let's see, it's the adult women's health history paper. So that is the big topic. We don't have a form or anything this week. There is some great information here under the frequently asked questions. So go through there, maybe even before you start writing the paper, so that it's not even confusing when you get to it. You'll already have read any questions that potentially would have come into your head. So read through there. There's also a great example of the adult health history here as well. And keep in mind, yes, it's a lot of information. And obviously we wouldn't do every one of those little things if someone came into the clinic with a problem. However, it's kind of like how we use the nursing care plans. It's a way to gather your thoughts and your information and everything that's coming in, and making sense out of it and making it useful for you and the patient as well. So it's a good idea to know how to use all these tools. There's links here for how to use, or for the depression scale, the mini mental status exam, and the mini cog exam as well. So those are also linked in this week's activities. Let's see, there's readings in both texts this week. Let's see, there's the Khan Academy video is very, very basic breakdown of the respiratory system. And then there's lectures by Dr. Hogland here as well that were really good and helpful. So you can read through that. Where was the other issue? Oh yeah, here. There's some links to the American Cancer Society that you can watch about breast screening. And the one that I enjoyed was this easy auscultation. So you do have to sign up when you get to that website. It's very, very brief, doesn't require a whole lot. But what came to mind was that when I was in nursing school many moons ago, we had to go to the nursing computer lab and put headphones on to listen to what lung sounds, heart sounds, etc. were like. So very handy that you can just do this from the comfort of your own home. We would never have thought that was going to be possible back in the day. And here we are. Let's see. There's also a quiz this week. It's on chapters 14 through 19. You have 1 hour to complete that quiz. Of course, it's open book, but it is helpful if you are fairly familiar with the material. And it's just to make sure you're on track and doing your readings, etc. It shouldn't stumble you up too much. Going into the health history paper, there were a few things that we wanted to remind you of. One is that the patient cannot be adopted. These are just some highlights. These are all in here, but just as a reminder. Let's see, what else do we talk about? They have to have both a chronic and an acute problem. Don't forget to assess for the use of integrative medicine. Some people are using massage, aromatherapy, chiropractic care, etc. So make sure you ask about that as well. Don't use your nursing diagnoses. We get to move beyond that, so enjoy that. We don't have to use those anymore. You'll actually lose points if you use a nursing diagnoses. So move on to the real medical diagnoses. Also, don't give a diagnosis as like at risk of depression. I don't actually think we can bill for something like that if we diagnose it or define it that way. So if you had something that you were concerned about that way, you could say mild signs and symptoms of depression, now stable, and then you could follow your paper. In your paper, you could define like what your follow-up would be for that, how you would monitor that, etc. You have to have 3 diagnoses, and from those, 1 can be a mental health diagnosis. And let's see. And one of your diagnoses can actually be a positive thing. So perhaps you have a patient coming in who's had hypothyroidism, but it's stable. That can be your diagnosis, that hypothyroidism now stable. So that's an option as well. There's all the information you need, all the points for each different little section. So you should be able to manage that just fine. And if you have questions, please let us know. I wanted to just give you a brief devotion here. I looked up one that I thought would be relevant to me too, because I understand your stress this week. I'm on call for 5 days in a row, and I have my DNP program has started again this fall, last week. Kids are back in school. So, yep, I'm feeling, and I'm teaching for the first time ever. So I'm feeling it. So I found one on being overwhelmed, and it's by Debbie McDaniel. And I'll just read it to you here. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. And that's from Psalm 61:2. For the times when you feel overwhelmed, there's a rock that is higher, stable, sure, faithful, true, a place you can trust, a place that you can rest. We often long for a more simplified life, free of mess or clutter and struggles. Yet most days we strive just to keep our heads above the demands of work, family, responsibilities, and all that calls our name. It's hard sometimes, feeling like we can never get it all done. Our minds are in a constant mode of go from the moment our feet hit the floor in the morning. This is life, real life. And God longs to be right there in the center of all of it, in the mess, in the full days, in the craziness, and times when we feel overwhelmed. Because the truth is, the reality that we can ever get everything done, we get everything done we feel like we need to do, is not even reality for most of us. And that's not where true success is found anyways. It's found in spending time with Him, our rock, our stability, our hope, and our peace. Maybe today is the day to rise above. Maybe we've been struck down too long. Maybe we've been drowning or fighting the overwhelm. Maybe this week we felt that way. All the struggles and stuff won't ever go away, but they don't have to defeat us. He is the one who brings hope in the chaos, the clutter, and the demands, because most days don't look like a Pinterest post or page fresh out of a magazine for simple living. Sometimes they're messy and full, and we can hardly keep up. The to-do list doesn't get done again, and we might be feeling a few steps behind. Pressures cling. We feel hurried and stressed, battling defeat and discouragement, wondering why we can't just get it all together. Yet His truth still shines through. For though there's a lot that may be left undone at the end of the day, if we're living close to the one who created the day and cares most about us than we could ever imagine, that's where true life is found. That's where real peace is, resting there today. Hope you are too. So be real with God. Tell Him your struggles and what's concerning you. He already knows, but He longs for that relationship with us as we sit in His presence, as we pray and read His words of truth. Ask Him for His peace to cover you, even if you find yourself in circumstances that are anything but peace-filled. He alone has the power to help us rise above the chaos and mess of our days. Let's choose to fix our eyes on Him and believe that He is with us. Hopefully those words of encouragement will ring true for you this week. Please feel free to reach out to us if you need anything, and have a great week.